बचाएंगे तो कम से कम 100 मुस्लिम बालिकाओं को।
Hello and welcome to We the People. What does this phrase love jihad even mean? And isn't it an oxymoron? Why has it come to occupy our headlines day after day? And what's love got to do with the politics that's being waged in its name? Has love jihad become the new polariser? Is it a tool of political Hindutva? Or are there genuine concerns about forced conversions or deception-induced conversions? This past week, the case of national shooter Tara Sahdev grabbed the headlines. Tara said that the man that she married, she thought he was a Hindu. He ended up being a Muslim. She says he duped her and after that tortured her to convert and even, according to her, set his dogs on her as an expression of that torture. But this was also a week when we saw Member of Parliament of the BJP, Yogi Adityanath, in the news again, in this eye of a storm once again, after an old video surfaced in which he's heard telling the crowd at an election rally that for every Hindu who is converted, 100 Muslims should be converted. On We the People today, why are interfaith marriages even an issue in a secular India of 2014? Is love jihad a fabrication or does it have any reality to it? And in the end, is it less love and more a vote jihad? Let me start with Bhartendra Singh of the BJP. This is a phrase that actually ironically originated in Karnataka and Kerala, but we're seeing its political expression perhaps most intense in Uttar Pradesh. And the sense is there's an election coming up, there are by-elections coming up in September, and while your party stopped short of calling love jihad in your state unit resolution just last week, your foot soldiers on the ground certainly believe that this is an electoral issue. So let's cut through all the political rhetoric. Let me ask you, what does this phrase mean?
No, the problem is that there are a whole lot of inter-religion marriages that are taking place.
Yeah.
And which, as you said, girls later or very soon realize after they get married and the marriage is consummated.
No, I didn't say that. I said that's the allegation. That's the allegation.
Well,
I didn't say this is what happens.
I'm from the ground. I'm telling you that very soon it is realized that they've been duped. Identities are hidden, names are changed, and they get married, and then they realize that they are in a completely different environment. So a girl's view must be taken seriously.
The assumption in this whole debate is women, whether Hindu or Muslim or Christian, are not intelligent enough. Yes, there could be cases where they've been duped, where they've been tortured, where they've been abused, and by all means those cases should be investigated and taken to the natural conclusion. But to make a generalized comment is to assume that women can't choose to marry for love. It must be deceit. If a woman is choosing to marry if a Hindu woman is choosing to marry a Muslim, it must be deceit because she'd never make that choice otherwise.
There is events that are taking place regularly in West UP that suddenly we see that a plot has been bought, a huge four-wall come up there, then a mosque comes up there, and then we soon realize there's a madrasa there, and there are people coming from outside and studying there.
What does that have to do with what we're talking about?
And then these boys are suddenly, they suddenly seem to have got a lot of money. Now these boys then are being used, like in the Saharanpur riot, people could not identify who were the people rioting. Everybody there says the people who came in, broke the shop and looted were not from Saharanpur.
Let me interrupt you briefly because I've got to go to the others now. In one line, are you objecting to Hindus marrying Muslims?
I'm not objecting at all to any marriage that is taking place
to
of an adult choice.
Are you objecting to conversions?
Adult choice.
Are you
but
objecting
what
to
the
conversions?
objection is that there is a plan, there is funding coming from outside or somewhere, and then this plan is being supervised and conducted quite meticulously.
Let me get Gaurav Bhatia. The fact of the matter is that the media focus has been on the BJP and love jihad. But where is the accountability of the Samajwadi Party? Your party has argued that if there are these incidents where a woman has been duped or deceived or tortured, these are law and order issues. These are not issues to be seen through the prism of religion.
Absolutely.
But if these are law and order issues, why do we see a spike in these law and order issues? Where is the accountability of the Samajwadi Party government? And also, if they're playing the Hindu card, the allegation against you is that your party is playing the Muslim card, and between the two of you, you've managed to just actually polarize the state completely.
Look at the hypocrisy. The BJP government before the election spoke about development. After the elections, we see that the BJP leaders who have orchestrated the Muzaffarnagar riots, and they have been charge-sheeted in those cases.
So
These
it's
are
not
heinous crimes.
Akhilesh Yadav's fault that the riots happen in
I
Muzaffarnagar
would
on
like
his
to,
watch.
I would only urge you to be patient. I can just reply. I will answer your question, I assure you. So after the elections, we see that the agenda of development is sidetracked completely.
Yeah.
The BJP does not even have the moral courage to say whether they endorse love jihad or not. Because in their meeting...
Let's ask him, though you haven't answered my question. Does the BJP endorse love jihad as a political issue?
It is an issue. It is not a political issue, certainly, but it certainly is an issue.
Is it an issue that we'll hear leaders talk about in these elections?
See, this is the point. And if I can complete. Yogi Adityanath, when he says that girls from particular community, when they'll come to our community, hum shuddhikaran karayenge. I think that's not an insult to the girls from minority communities. It's an insult to every citizen of India. Because these parliamentarians who are supposed to uphold the values of the constitution are not doing so. And even more unfortunate is the silence of the Prime Minister, because the Prime Minister today is not a member of Parliament from the BJP or a BJP leader. He represents every citizen of this country, and he's supposed to speak and ask his leaders to toe the line.
You actually still haven't answered my question, but I'm going to move on. You've got 15 seconds to answer.
Sure.
They're playing the majority card. You've played the minority
we
card.
Are not playing the minority
it would
card,
almost seem like a pact between the two of you.
Not at all. The difference is this. Politics of hatred and politics of communalism.
Nobody accepts that they play politics of hatred.
Barkat, so many interruptions, I think, I cannot make my point.
I'm going to move on. Okay,
my answer is simple. According to the Sachar committee, if there is a report that says that there is a community that is underprivileged and there are schemes of the state government which are being implemented for their upliftment, that cannot be equated with appeasement.
Charu Gupta, let me get you in. You have actually done a paper that talks of how the 1920s are back in 2014. That in 1920s too, there was this attempt to create this kind of mythology, as it were, that Muslims in large numbers were duping Hindu girls to marry them, and this was all being done as some sort of conspiracy to increase the numbers of Muslims. Now the point is this, that somewhere our politics has failed because people are ready to buy into something that is said often enough, even if it's not true, and perhaps all of these political parties are responsible for it. But what is love jihad to you?
I think one of the strengths, let me address what you first said, one of the strengths of any hate campaign is to say a lie repeatedly so that it becomes a part of common sense, so that it sounds like truth. Please let women love whom they want. Let us not resort to violence in this kind of a situation. As a historian who's worked on this topic, researched extensively for the past 10 years, I want to say that love jihad is a total bogey, it's a total lie, it's a myth, it's a complete falsity that we are spreading. Setting aside a few cases, of course, every case of forced conversion,
because I have sitting next to me Rishi, who's Tara Sahadev's brother. So we are going to hear his story as well, and you will have to address the reality, if this is proven to be true, the reality of these cases as well.
Of course. But
of course there are forced conversions.
Of course, there are cases of forced conversion. There are forces of, just as there are cases of kidnapping, there are cases of rapes and all the violence against women, and each case must be investigated. But to say then there is a conspiracy, that it is organized, that's where the problem lies. Also, this bogey of love jihad was raised not recently. It was there from 2007. It was raised in Kerala, it was raised in Karnataka, it was even raised in Gujarat. At that time, both in Gujarat and in Karnataka, when it was raised, there was BJP government. Is the government so incompetent?
But Kerala never had a BJP government.
No, in Karnataka there was.
Yeah, but in Kerala you never had a BJP government.
But there, in these two states also, this bogey was raised. And in all these years, do you want to say that Hindu organizations, the police, the CID, the courts have not been able to find a single evidence
and I want to get Rahul Ishwar
of this?
Rahul Ishwar, you're from Kerala, and my question is this. I think Charu raises an important point. Why can't women love who they want to? Certainly, like in Tara's case, if it is found that there has been abuse, there has been violence, that's a separate argument. But why are women being made into the latest battleground? Why is a woman now the battlefield for politicians, for religious groups? What happened to a woman's autonomy to make her own choices?
I strongly object to the word love jihad, because jihad comes from an Arabic word jahada, means to strive. It's a holy word like crusade or dharma yudh.
Okay.
I would like to call it forcible conversions. Let me quote Kerala's Christian Congress CM. I'm sorry to say his religion, but this is relevant to statistics. Sri Umman Chandi, 25/6/2012, question number 3794. He said on the floor of the house, 2,687 girls has been forcefully converted. It is under the title of forceful conversion.
Okay.
2,195 Hindu girls, 492 Christian girls. Let me take the communist chief minister then who came, Sri Achyutanandan. He is an atheist, he is a communist. He said there is a conspiracy within 20 years to convert Kerala into an Islamic state, which was widely debated in the media. Third point, I understand this is a very sensitive subject. I come from a tradition where we first go to a mosque before going to a temple. One of my cousins married a Muslim guy, families protested, but we were the people who made them marry. Nobody is against interreligious marriages, but there should be interreligious marriages. There should not be a conversion happening. And what is forcible conversion? Take the case of the god of secularism, Mahatma Gandhi. His son Harilal Gandhi was given money and was converted to Abdullah Gandhi. 2 years later, he came back. So this is a history. And let me quote very authentically in saying, there is a Wahhabi foreign-sponsored strategy to do it.
One second, 45 seconds are up. Now, my question is
we are not against interreligious marriages.
Don't forget while you quote history to also remember Ambedkar, who became a Buddhist. Don't
But
forget
he was never
Ambedkar,
given
who
money.
said, I was born a Hindu, but I will not
He
die
was
a
never
Hindu.
given money, and Harilal came back.
No. I'm only making a different argument, Rahul. Listen to me. That often the people who are converting or converting out of Hinduism are also doing it because their own faith has oppressed them. The caste hierarchy has oppressed them.
Spot on. I'm totally with you. But Mahatma Gandhi's son was never caste oppressed. When he came back, he himself admitted. So let us not close sight to realities. And I totally agree with one point. Many Hindu groups are using this for scaremongering. I know it personally. I'm not against so. And many people, the so-called far left and Muslim
So your
groups are in
problem is
denial.
with conversions or with forced conversions?
Who is against conversion? It is our personal
Now the
choice.
question is
Forcible
how do you
conversion.
define what a forced conversion is? There could be somebody, for example, in some states that have anti-conversion laws, the argument is that inducement or allurement is forced conversion. But is it inducement to want a better life? Is that not voluntary? I first want to focus on the larger issue through Khushbu and Ram Rahman. Rahul raises an interesting point that if we genuinely want to celebrate interfaith marriages, why do conversions follow so many of these marriages? I think that's an interesting. Tell us about your own story, Khushbu.
I'm born Muslim.
Yeah.
I continue to be a Muslim. I'm married to a proper Pillai, and since Rahul comes from there, we call as Saiva Pillais, which is totally a very, very conservative community.
Yeah.
But we eat non-vegetarian, we celebrate all the festivals, and I'm not converted. Not even once. I dated my husband for 6 years before we got married.
Was there any pressure on you to convert?
Not at all. That religion was never in between us. It was never in between us. For us, it was important that we were celebrating love. For us, it was important that we were looking forward to build a family together. For us, it was important to give a very, very secular life to our two wonderful kids.
So what does this phrase love jihad mean to you?
Nothing. It means nothing to me. I think it's just that few political people, leaders or the parties, they just want to utilize it, put it across because they feel the minute you say love jihad, it is an Urdu word and an English word. Today, the college goers or the youngsters, they all feel that, okay, that's the latest thing, love jihad. Let's talk about it. But to me, love jihad, excuse me, but it's absolutely, you need to rip it apart.
Ram Rahman, your own upbringing has also been, in a sense, interfaith. Talk a little bit about that.
My parents got married in the 1940s, and both my parents were in the arts. My mother was a dancer, my father was an architect, and they met in New York, fell in love. My father was 30 years old, my mother was 15. They ran away, she never finished school. They got married illegally because she was underage, but she looked very grown up. And they had, a complicated but very happily married life. Now, in the 1940s, it was, the heart of the freedom struggle. Yeah. There was never an issue about interfaith marriages. There were so many happening. You have examples of Aruna Asaf Ali. I mean, our freedom movement is riven with people who married each other, who fell in love. My father was a militant anti-religious atheist. His mother was religious, continued being religious. Most of his family, for no special reason, didn't marry in the religion.
Was it ever an issue?
No, it was never an issue.
So today when you see the politics around this, now what we're hearing the other say is it's not the interfaith marriage that's the issue, it's conversion that's the issue. Do you think conversions are an issue?
Well, I'm very clear on this issue of love jihad. I mean, it's a purely political issue. The BJP used Ayodhya 2 decades ago, which worked for them for a while. Gujarat happened, that worked for a while. This is a new issue to divide and rule, and to them it actually, the Muslim vote doesn't matter.
Okay.
If you're talking about the Gujarat model, it didn't matter in Gujarat, and now it's not mattering to them nationally.
Well, that's not true at all. I think the huge majority that Narendra Modi ji has got, he's got it because of the development that he's spoken of even as late as 15th
But you know, when
August.
Yogi Adityanath says that for every Hindu converted, I will convert, 100 Muslims should be converted. And not just that video, it's old, I agree. He himself told me it's 2007. He called it a cut and paste job. But the video actually ends with saying, agar ek marenge, hamara ek marenge, to hum, and the crowd says, 100 marenge. Now my point is, where does this reconcile with the Vikas slogan?
Well, it's an old recording, as you yourself are saying, and secondly, one can never agree with it.
Yes, that's the point.
He wasn't apologetic about it. I saw the
He
entire...
never even contradicted it.
Yeah,
he was
He
never
did not deny
apologetic
it.
about
He
it.
wasn't apologetic about it. And in fact, the only thing he said
But nor
was
is
that
Akhilesh Yadav apologetic
Now-
about riots that happened on his watch.
he has taken full
This is the problem with
responsibility for the
politicians.
same.
This
He
is the
has
problem
taken
with
full
politicians.
responsibility for the same. And I want to, if they are talking about love jihad, what is the statement that the Chief Minister issued? Mr. Akhilesh Yadav said that we have to respect every citizen. They are mature individuals and we cannot communalize love and marriage.
Okay,
He
let me
didn't
get
talk
Professor
about
C.B. Sharma
minority
in.
appeasement or anything.
C.B. Sharma.
I'm quite enthused by the whole discussion. Look, what I believe is that we are only hitting the surface. Look at the history of India since independence. There has been a strong politics of appeasement. And when I say that, I'm not saying that as a politician, but I'm saying that as an academic, as an educationist. You have made generations grow through various types of institutions. You have Christian schools, you have the maktabs and madrasas, and you have also the Vidya
But it's
Mandirs.
not like
No,
only
wait a minute.
Christians go to Christian schools.
Wait a minute. Don't forget, the missionaries
so many
got
of
the
us are products of some of the best.
I went to a mission school. I know what
So
is
do you have a
taught.
problem with this existence?
No. When I go to a temple, I first do like this, and my wife asks, what is that? She went to a Arya Samaj school. We grew up in a tradition. Now, what did we learn and what did we hear in maktabs and madrasas and also the missionary schools, and compare it to the Vidya Mandirs? There is a stark difference. Maktabs and madrasas definitely teach Islam is important, Muhammad is one, you have to live for Muhammad. Missionary schools always teach Christianity is good, God is one, go to him, then you will be a good person. Whereas the Vidya Mandirs always taught Hindustan iske liye jeena hai, Hindustan hamara ideal hai, aur Bharat Mata. They never taught about religion. Now, I believe what is happening now is a backlash. You have suppressed the real questions for so many years.
So there's a majority community discontentment
No. Now that the general population feels there is a Hindu government, this is a backlash, and they are trying to get that space.
Quickly, because everyone... Yeah, Gaurav?
Yeah, I would just like to remind my friend that there is a constitutional right to have minority institutions and these religious institutions.
I know.
And they have to be state-owned institutions
No, I think
as
the
well.
point he's
For a person who does not even have the means to have
provision.
education, if he is going to an institute which is governed by a minority community, does not matter. At least he is getting education. That is more important.
Okay,
Till we have
okay,
enough
can we just...
don't forget.
does not
Kushbu, you wanted
matter
to come in
whether
there.
it is
Kushbu's
a
wanting to
missionary school or a
Kushbu, and then I'll
minority
come to you, Professor Chan.
When he was talking about the educations in schools, I think my two girls, they are going to schools. One is in 9th and one in 7th. And it's a proper Hindu school, but not even once my kids would have been taught saying that you have to believe in Hinduism, you have to believe in that.
Never. That's the problem.
least they're
Hindu
getting
schools have
education.
never done
Okay,
it.
I'm seeing lots of hands go up. Charu, give me half a second. I just want to hear from Rishi here. Rishi, aapki behan ka case, Tara ka case, it has grabbed the national headlines. National level shooter, marriage, और फिर उनको पता लगता है कि मैंने जिस आदमी से शादी किया है वो हिंदू नहीं, वो मुसलमान है. उसके बाद वो कहती है मेरा टॉर्चर शुरू हुआ. Even the dogs were set on me. अब आप मुझे बताइए कि मैं मानती हूँ कि वो कहती है मुझे डिसीट हुआ. उनको क्या नाराजगी टॉर्चर से है, वायलेंस से है कि उनके धर्म से?
तीनों चीज़ों से है. पहला तो यही था कि गलत आइडेंटिटी बताकर शादी किया गया,
कि झूठ बोला।
इट वाज अ फेक आइडेंटिटी। उन्होंने बताया कि उनका नाम रंजीत सिंह कोहली है, एंड later on she found out that he was Rakibul Hussain Khan, and the very next day वो काजी वगैरह आए, and like she was forced to say कबूल कबूल कबूल, and नाम भी बदल के सारा उनको कहा गया कि you are Sara Parveen from today, but she refused to sign the register, and then after a few days since रोज़ा चल रहा था तो she was asked to go to Mushtaq Ahmed, the registrar of vigilance, उनके घर पे there was an iftar party. And there, you know, there was this whole gang of Muslim women who forced her to, you know, you follow this religion now.
And you have also said she was tortured.
Yeah, she was very much tortured. I mean, the day she came, you should have seen her. She couldn't walk, and she had bruises all over her body.
Now, I want to ask you something. While, of course, any woman making an allegation of domestic violence, abuse, torture, as a feminist, I would always say must be investigated to its last end, to its logical conclusion. There has been an allegation that this case has got politicized. You yourself have joined the BJP, if I'm not wrong. जो धरना हुआ वो VHP और BJP ने मिलके कॉल किया, तो एक परसेप्शन बन गई है ऋषि that ये जो एक आपकी बहन के साथ हुआ है, अब इसमें पॉलिटिक्स भी आ गई है.
Can't a brother just stand up for his sister? Everything does not have to be a BJP Congress issue in this country. I stood up for my sister, and of course, ठीक है, the VHP came in, the Bajrang Dal came in, the RSS came in. Many youth from many colleges and universities of Ranchi city, they came in. So what's wrong in that? I mean, the kind of brutal torture and the things that my sister has gone through, if somebody is standing up for it, what is wrong in that?
Now the police have arrested Rakibul Hassan or slash Ranjit, but the police is not yet convinced that a conversion or an attempted conversion happened. You've seen their statements. Yeah,
I've seen the statements. Rakibul Hassan has confessed that from 2007 onwards he's following Islam, and in fact me and Tara and Dwed, we met the Chief Minister yesterday, and we told the CM about his contacts, you know, these high profile contacts, and the way the whole proceeding is being manipulated.
So what do you want for your sister now?
We told the CM that we want a CBI inquiry into this.
And is this love jihad for you?
See,
does this phrase make any sense?
To be very honest, Barkha, I heard about this term for the first time after Tara's case. I had not heard of this before.
And you didn't join the BJP because of this?
No, not at all. I just joined because of Narendra Modi.
I think really the problem is that nobody else except the BJP will stand up for Tara. Every other party in this country is looking for minority appeasement and Muslim votes. I would like to go a step ahead and say that I am sure nobody in the audience here supports a fraud like Rakib or whatever else his name was. Nobody supports it here. But yet the parties here believe that if they stand up for Tara, they will lose Muslim support.
Okay. Rahul and then Charu.
There is a huge difference between Hindu right and right Hindus. And when right Hindus feel the intellectuals are not standing up for them, they are joining Hindu parties because they believe nobody else is stand up. And Kerala High Court has to instruct Kerala Chief Ministers to create an anti-conversion law. Court by itself said, why don't you create an anti-conversion law?
Charu, how do you who have said the myth of love jihad, this doesn't happen, what would you say to Tara's
I think
brother?
These cases, it should go to a CBI inquiry. There should be a thorough investigation. I think all women, you know, who will hear Tara's story will feel deeply agonized, will be standing with her. They would want a full inquiry into it. But then the problem is that you build a conspiracy. In fact, in 2010, there is a repeated quote from Kerala High Court. You know, in 2010, the Kerala High Court directed the police to do thorough investigations. They investigated for 2 years and then they finally declared that the campaign has no substance.
That there is no love.
It was clearly declared. I think if there is any conspiracy, it's a conspiracy by certain organizations to polarize communal passions, to fulfill narrow political agendas. The conspiracy lies there. There is no...
Gaurav and then Rahul and Ram and everyone coming after that.
I strongly object to what Mr. Bharten Singh said. He said that no party would come forward and no government would help because they are worrying more about their minority vote bank. When we involve external bodies like RSS or it could be a Muslim outfit and they try to politicize every issue which can be dealt with
under the purview of law, I'm going to start taking questions. Can we open up the conversation to the audience now, please? Gaurav. And then I will come to Khushbu and Ram after that. You've been wanting to ask.
I am sorry, sir. The Muslim schools never state that follow just Muhammad. They say that follow Allah.
I'll take one more question and then you, Professor Sharma, you can respond to that.
I've been in a Christian school for all my life, and it's one of the oldest schools from where I've come from, 130 years. And never have we heard of a conversion case there. In fact, from where I come from, I'm from Kashmir, all the major schools are Christian schools.
Professor C.V. Sharma.
I started my education from Presentation Convent and then I went to Mission School Saharsa. Now look, I'm not saying every mission school would make every child convert, but go to villages and find out how many parents converted so that their children can go to a mission
Now I want to
school.
ask you a question. Now I want to ask you a question. Conversion is a fundamental right. The right to practice and propagate your religion is a fundamental right.
Varka, let us not.
Please define. Please define
Forcible
forcible conversion. Does a Dalit who believes he's going to get a better life if he leaves a faith that is...
Barkha, why are you closing eyes to reality? Was Mahatma Gandhi's son a Dalit? Why are we closing?
Answer my question.
Why are you
Hold on. Okay, 1 minute, one at a time.
I would like to make
complete your point.
I would like to make two important points.
Yes.
The Constitution provides the facility to convert, so everybody cannot be the argument because that leads to conversion by force, and we must look into it.
I'm asking you to define force.
I'm
asking you. Okay, Ram and Khushbu. Okay, now you had your say. Please let others speak.
I wanted to speak to Tara's brother. आप कह रहे थे कि इतनी सारी पार्टियां सबको सपोर्ट करने के लिए आई हैं और आपने जितनी भी पार्टियों के नाम लिए, they all are Hindu supporters. Do you think the situation would have been the same if Rakesh Kohli would have remained would have been whatever he Rakesh Kohli, and अगर तारा हिंदू नहीं होती और मुस्लिम होती, सायरा बेन होती, तो यही सपोर्ट वो सारी पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज आपको सपोर्ट देती?
Let him answer now. Rishi ji?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so you see, it's very clear that people want to politicize everything.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely politicized. They want to show that, okay, this is Hinduism. One Hindu girl has been forcibly converted into a Muslim, so we need to politicize.
Okay, I'll allow him to speak. I'll allow Rishi.
What I want to tell you is that you will hear of very rare situations like the one you're talking about. I want to tell ma'am, you were saying that there's no such judgment. A judgment has come. Arsin Irfan has been sentenced for 10 years by the fast track court of
For doing what?
He had, under the fake identity of Ashish, married a Hindu girl, and then he told her that he was a Muslim.
But love jihad, is it under love
system is in place. We don't need fundamentalists like
RSS. Ram, you ready to make a point? Ram Rahman, yeah.
The discussion has basically gone totally into political direction.
Exactly, which is what happens every time.
Which happens every time. I would like to bring it back to a social and cultural level.
Yes.
Because, the fabric of this country, we are all very complicated people here of different castes, different classes, different faiths.
Yeah.
We have all lived in a complex relationship, which, of course, there have been problems every now and then. The problem is that the politicians stir up these issues. You see, in my case, my mother, who was a dancer, Indrani Rahman, she married a Muslim. She studied Bharatanatyam, became a very famous dancer, danced all over Tamil Nadu in the 1950s. There was never an issue of her name. And what was she dancing? It was all bhakti poetry, which she believed in. Otherwise, she would never have been a dancer.
So you're saying that there's a syncretism that we have to remember, we have to evoke. And I'm sitting next to somebody who's actually from Muzaffarnagar, which today has become a kind of symbol of our divides. But I have Hina Khan sitting here, and Hina was born into a Jat family, but then she married a Muslim, and she did convert, but her family continued to practice or celebrate both faiths. So Hina ji, मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूँगी, उस समय कब की बात है ये जब आपकी शादी हुई?
I married in 1976.
बहुत पुरानी बात है. बहुत पुरानी. प्रेशर आया that आप एक जाट होती हुई, जाट फैमिली से होती हुई आप मुस्लिम से शादी कर रही थी?
मेरे इमीडिएट फैमिली मेंबर्स में किसी से प्रेशर नहीं आया, लेकिन जो हमारे और लोग मिलने जुलने वाले थे, उन्होंने ऑफ कोर्स मेरे ब्रदर को फोर्स किया कि हम आ जाते हैं सामने, तुम्हें कोई मदद चाहिए. बट मेरे फादर बड़े लिबरल एंड एजुकेटेड एंड जिसको कहते हैं कि जो पढ़ते थे उसमें यकीन करते थे. सिर्फ पढ़ा नहीं है उन्होंने कि सब बराबर हैं, उस बात के साथ हम लोगों की परवरिश हुई. आई मैरिड अ शिया सैयद फ्रॉम जानसठ, एंड मुझे कभी उन्होंने कन्वर्ट होने को नहीं कहा. आई वॉज अ वेजिटेरियन देन, आई एम स्टिल अ वेजिटेरियन. मेरे बच्चे राखी भी बांधते हैं और ईद भी मनाते हैं. I have 2 children. कभी मुझे कोई परेशानी नहीं हुई. My husband never forced my children कि मस्जिद में जाओ, नमाज पढ़ो, मुहर्रम करो. It was never forced on them.
अच्छा, मैं आपसे पूछूं एक बात, आपको अजीब लगा कि आपको अपना नाम बदलना पड़ा?
मैंने नाम सिर्फ मोहब्बत में बदला. When my son was born, मेरे हस्बैंड ने कहा कि क्या नाम रखना चाहती हो. मैं साहिर लुधियानवी की बड़ी प्रशंसक थी, तो मैंने कहा साहिर रखते हैं. तो कहने लगे यार ये नशे में क्या इसको हमेशा डालोगी. साहिर का मतलब होता है नशा. He said कोई और नाम सोच लो. So I said Saif is okay. उन्होंने मुझे कभी फोर्स.
पर ये जो राहुल ईश्वर ने बात रखी कि अगर सच्ची में मोहब्बत है तो धर्म बदलने की क्या जरूरत?
कोई जरूरत नहीं
है ना,
कोई जरूरत नहीं है. और आप किस फैमिली में जाते हो ये उस पर बहुत मुनस्सर करता है, उस पर बहुत डिपेंड करता है.
तो आपके भी बच्चे हुए उसके
मेरे बच्चे हैं.
Did you bring them up as Muslim or Hindu?
नहीं, दोनों तरह से हैं. उनकी कोई ऐसी परवरिश नहीं है. एंड कैन आई स्पीक?
यस.
मेरे बेटे की एक फ्रेंड है, उसने उससे पूछा कि तुम कौन सा रिलीजन फॉलो करते हो. उसने कहा मैं अभी पढ़ रहा हूँ, आई थिंक बुद्धिज्म इज द बेस्ट. अब पता नहीं मैं क्या पढ़ूँ, मैं क्या हूँ. दिस इज लेटेस्ट. अभी मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ, मैंने अभी पढ़ना शुरू किया है, अभी मुझे फुर्सत है. जो मुझे अच्छा लगेगा मैं उसको.
तो ये लव जिहाद का फ्रेज आपके लिए क्या मायने रखता है?
बकवास.
बरखा जी, this is the thing we should
मेरा
celebrate.
जाति तजुर्बा है, मैंने I have gone through it, इसलिए मैं इतने मजबूती के साथ.
This is the thing we should celebrate. But why don't you simply close your eyes to a Christian Congress CM and a communist CM who
Because
tells
I
this is a fact.
don't think the Congress and the communists don't play politics.
No,
So
this is not BJP's agenda. See, this is not BJP. I'm giving you
that has been presented.
Okay, one at a time. Now Gaurav first, then Bhartendra, then I'll go down the
Singh
path.
spoke about data, so I just want to ask him. I heard all the senior leaders saying, love jihad, love jihad. They did not even give 2 or 3 examples of love jihad, and they were trying to paint the entire 25 crore population as demons. That is the problem, you know. You cannot make general statements. In every community, there are good persons, there are bad persons. And please don't generalize everybody with the same brush.
Would you see these examples as aberrations, as collapses of law and order, like what happened with Tara? We don't know the truth of what's happened in Meerut, but that was one of the cases. No one is saying these things don't happen. But are they more the exception than the norms?
No, I think we are just closing our eyes to what happened in Meerut. There is a girl who's saying she's been repeatedly raped in 3 districts of Western UP. Why are we not taking her plea seriously? There is a Tara who's coming onto national television, and time and again they're being asked, "Aap love jihad mante hain, aap ye conspiracy mante hain." The poor thing.
No. Okay, one sentence. I want Ram and Khushbu to come in. I'll come to you, Charu.
What the victim was saying, that I am being pressurized by BJP leaders to make a two-touch statement.
I haven't seen this statement that I'm being pressurized by BJP.
Communalize.
You are communalizing it also by saying कि वो you are telling a woman who says she's been raped कि वो झूठ बोल रही है. You have to be careful about that.
I will show you the newspaper report after the program.
No.
I will show you the newspaper report.
I am only saying that a woman who says she's been raped has to be
taken. It's a crime.
Has to be given the benefit of the doubt.
You cannot say it's love jihad.
I just want to put in one last word of what is happening on the ground. That when a lady goes to the police station, her report is not being recorded.
That happens to women of all faiths, irrespective of who they marry.
In this case, persons were arrested.
Okay, I'm going to just take a question here, but I'll let Charu Gupta come in, and I want Ram and Khushbu to talk about Hina Khan's story that we just heard.
I really want to celebrate Hira's story and congratulate her for what she has told us. But I want to say that sometimes what happens is that the Special Marriage Act, under which inter-religious marriages can take place, requires a 1-month notice. And the girl is under so much pressure already.
So you that's why conversions happen.
Sometimes they find it. The girl is already under so much of pressure. She loves anybody. Intercaste marriages, she's chopped apart. Khap panchayat. She's taken to interreligious even more so.
So can I ask you what you're saying? That you're saying that it's because it's so tough to just go and have a civil ceremony. But isn't family pressure? Now let me play devil's advocate here. A number of Hindus would argue that this is a pressure that comes more from Islam, because Islam and Christianity are proselytizing faiths. Hinduism is not a codified faith. So there will be people who will say there's a double standard here. In reverse, for example, if a Muslim girl were marrying a Hindu, the pressure to convert would not be so acute. I'm giving you a point of view.
Yes,
How would you respond to that?
No, I would say that is, there are lots of cases where the reverse has taken place. The problem is in the Hindu organizations always depict a Muslim girl marrying a Hindu boy as romance, as love, as voluntary. It's when the reverse happens that all
C.V. Sharma, quick response to that and then I want to come this side.
Historically, you know, the kind of minute instructions that were given to Hindu girls, don't go to Muslim tailors, don't go to Muslim peers, don't go wear green clothes, don't celebrate Muharram. I have got proof. I am a historian. I have looked at evidence.
Now, ma'am, you made your point.
I think this has nothing to do with love jihad. One is, nobody would deny if a marriage is for love, it's wrong. But then, if two individuals, adults, want to marry and whatever the faith, it's fine. But then we have from across the country examples of one community or communities and institutions coercing people to convert for certain gains. That cannot be accepted. And a very dangerous argument that 25 crore people are being pressurized, and an argument in the parliament कि पाकिस्तान को हम compensate करें कारगिल वॉर के लिए, अगर ऐसे ही argument देते रहे, ये मुलायम सिंह यादव ने पार्लियामेंट में कहा था कि
मुलायम सिंह यादव
पाकिस्तान को हम compensate करें कारगिल वॉर के लिए, अगर आप ऐसे ही statement देते रहे तो भारत को फिर divide करेंगे.
Okay, we're back to the politics which I was trying to avoid, but I'll allow you literally one sentence because I've got this young man raising his hand.
No, I completely deny it.
Did he say it?
Never has he said it. Never has he said it, and I take full responsibility in denying this statement.
Let's take questions.
Yeah, I'm very proud to say that I've grown up watching her movies. I'm from Tamil Nadu, and I have a very common Hindu name. And
what's your name?
My name is Rajaram. I just want to say that majoritarian view is not about anti-secularism or secularism. The whole idea is inviting all kinds of faiths in this country. I have never seen her as a Muslim or as a Hindu woman. A very famous Tamil music director is converted to Islam, and I don't think people are going to look at him from that prism saying that...
And he continues to keep the same name. Yuvan Shankar Raja. Yuvan Shankar Raja remains the same.
Yeah, whether his music is going to change things. And I mean, at the end of the day, they embrace something new and they want to evolve as people. I think that's what matters. Another very important objective point that I want to put forward is regarding the singer KJ Yesudas from Kerala. He's a Christian. He professes the Christian faith. And he has sung so many Hindu songs, and my parents listen to his songs, and I have listened to his songs. And that doesn't make him no less a Christian or no less a Hindu, or me even listening to him make me less secular.
Okay, you had a question. Yeah.
It's a very simple thing. I have a lot of friends who had interreligious marriages.
Have they converted or
no? Some of them have most of them have had marriage ceremonies in both religions. To just make all the parents happy, because the grandparents want to see that. You had one. You had one.
How did you get married?
Hindu. And it didn't matter to my mom whether I was
you got married by Hindu ceremony?
But then I did register it under Special Act.
Okay.
Most of them don't even know about Special Marriages Act. I'm someone who goes and tells them, by the way, it's an interreligious marriage. Go under Special Marriages Act. You're safer. My point here is, love jihad is just a notion that's been built. Yes, forced conversions go back in any part of history, not only in India, anywhere in the world. Women are seen as a vessel of patriarchy. Women are always taken up by the men. Right. So it's not about one religion. There are also other religions. It's a historical thing. So let's remove the religion out of it.
So why don't we oppose it together?
Well said.
We're all opposing it.
Nobody here is that's the whole point.
Nobody here, sir, is sitting and saying love jihad is okay. Love jihad, nobody's saying it. This whole concept. Nobody's saying a forced conversion is okay.
Forced conversion, irrespective
of woman,
forced
man,
conversion,
child,
everyone is opposing
is
here.
not okay. But if I tomorrow decide that I feel that my heart calls out to another religion, I am not answerable to anybody.
Absolutely.
A person I love follows the religion.
That's a good point. Yet Bhartendra is saying we have seen different parties actually introduce anti-conversion laws in the states. And by the way, this is not just BJP. The Congress initiated it in Himachal Pradesh. So the point is, if we're accepting that voluntary conversions are okay, then why do we have anti-conversion laws in these states?
If you really look at the law closely, Gaurav will be able to enlighten us better. But if you look at the law closely, it only is, I think it's more of a registration. It's like a marriage registration. You need to go and inform the magistrate, and after a month, the magistrate does his inquiry and
clears
it.
That's not my question.
No, I would like to congratulate Hina ji, because my family, it's such a secular family. My first brother is the only one who's married to a Muslim because it was an arranged match. And we were not invited because it was a huge family history. But then my other brother is married to a Tamilian, Indonesian, was a Tamilian but converted into a Christian. My last brother is married to a Malayali Christian, Syrian. And I'm married to a proper Hindu. And I remember I was shooting with one very famous personality, and I was dating my husband, and my brothers were also dating their wives. And he said, listen, you date anyone, you fall in love, but you have to get married within the community because you have to build the community. And I looked at him and I said, my mom will make sure that my brothers are kicked out of the house, and he will make sure that those two girls come and live with us. Because my mother believes in secularism, and my mother says that if you love someone, love them with complete heart. Religion does not matter. And I'm an atheist, by the way. I do not follow anything. I'm an atheist. My husband is a pure Murugan Bhaktar. You should be knowing about it, about Murugan. And he fasts on Thursdays. And there's a huge puja room in our home. I help him do everything. But I do not follow any religion. And in these 20 years,
Rahul, therefore, why do we have anti-conversion laws?
No, hold on.
It has
It is
never
not
mattered to
anti-conversion. It is anti-forced conversion.
No,
And
wait.
forced conversion is a
I would like to
reality.
say-
Forced conversion. We are not against conversion. Conversion is only a personal choice. And we have a land in India where Vivekananda said, I would have been the disciple of Jesus and washed his feet with my heart's blood. We are totally for any personal choice. But forced conversion, bribe conversion, allurement, these kind of
But
things.
I come back to my question.
Barkhaji asked a very important question. Who defines it? Supreme Court in various cases, Niyogi Commission report.
But you're not listening to Kerala High Court,
And one more
Charu.
thing. I'm sorry to use a strong word.
There
That's
is
a
a
lie.
contradiction
What's a lie?
I'm sorry
There
to
is a contradiction.
Why let him speak?
I'm sorry
Why
to
how is it a lie?
I'm sorry to use a strong word. That's a lie.
Yeah.
No, of course, there is a court case. I have read it. I have
ma'am.
got the
Quote the
papers.
sources, please.
Of course.
Sources
it
is appeared in
it's
print.
the Kerala
I
High
read it
Court
too.
I was in
judgment
Kerala High Court. We were
2012.
fighting that case.
I have that.
I was in that
hang
case.
on.
I'm quoting
No,
exactly.
Hang on,
quoting
Charu,
from the
complete your point.
I am quoting from the case. It was very categorically stated by the police that there is no
is a lie.
Let us speak now,
of
Rahul.
there is no evidence of love jihad. Please go and read the 2012 judgment.
Okay,
That
Ram
is my
Rahman
only
first, and
point.
then questions here, then
Unfortunately, I don't yell as loudly as he does. Yeah.
Sometimes you yell for the truth.
Yeah. No, you don't. You do not have to yell for the truth. Mahatma Gandhi, who you keep referring to, didn't have teeth. So, and if you hear his speech, you can barely understand what he said, and look at what that man did for us,
Well
for
said.
all of us sitting
But
here.
unfortunately,
But my
we are,
point,
we
no,
are
my
not
Okay,
in
let him complete
Gandhi's
his
age.
point. Professor Chandra, half a second. Let him-
I want to come back to a point. You know, we are talking about an issue here which is a purely communal issue.
Yeah.
What happens to women in our country, we're all very aware of. I mean, the amount of rapes that happen,
Yeah.
women and men who are doing cross caste marriages, the kinds of horrendous violence that we have seen to break them up.
I think that's a very good point.
And the point is that, this thing that you're talking about is a minuscule portion of what is happening.
And so that takes me to my question to Professor C.B. Sharma, that why don't we see political campaigns against child marriage? We never see an election fought on that issue.
Look, I mean, I'm not here to defend politicians. Politicians would do everything to remain in power, even think for the nation.
Okay.
Right. So they are not interested in this.
Okay.
This issue definitely gets votes, so they will do it. My concern is not. My concern is that those poor people, those who have nowhere to go and are forced to convert, and that is happening in India. Go to Northeast and see what is happening around church, around other institutions. I'm against that. Love marriage, love jihad. If two are happy, nobody should have any problem.
Okay. Can I now interrupt all of you? Gaurav, I know you have a point, but I have to hear from the audience because we have to start taking last comments. Yeah.
Okay, firstly, forced conversions. So you're just being a child right now. You're just shouting out loud, forced conversion. I have a personal example from this, okay? There's a person who's sitting right outside my apartment. He's a Muslim, okay? He tells me a story about his brother converting to Hindu through a party. I'm not going to take the name, okay? Because I do not want it to be a political issue. Then, okay, he converted because he was given 10,000 rupees.
Very bad.
Okay? Do not tell me that. Very bad.
Why not?
Okay? Listen to me first, okay? Then he converted because he earns $100 a day. He cannot have food. 1 month, he'll have food in his home. Okay, he does not believe in that religion, but he still has it. So firstly, the law is completely vague. Okay, it does not define anything. There is no definitions here. do not hark about forced conversions here.
Okay, let him quickly
I totally agree with this point. If somebody, X or Y, if they are doing 10,000 giving, if they're giving 10,000
Okay,
rupees and
I'll ask
converting,
you a question,
it is
but you're
bad.
not.
Whether
I'll
it is
ask a
Hindu or
question.
Muslim
I'll
or
ask a
Christian.
question. What if somebody is a victim of the caste hierarchy and therefore wants to convert? Would you call that allurement? Would you call that inducement?
Absolutely no. But if money is given, if fraudulent means are used, as mentioned in Niyogi Commission.
Okay. Come on. Let him respond.
I would not like to duck this question. I had said in my previous statement, this is a backlash. This has been happening in India. People have been converting for money. If he is hinting at somebody who has been converted by Hindu organizations, BJP, we will have more of it if you keep on doing
Okay, I'll take a
politics in
question
this
here.
country.
I'll take a question here, then Gaurav.
All right. So I want to say two things. First is that I think in media houses where we're sitting right now, this debate is going to be heard by 0.5%, 1% of the educated masses, right? This debate is about the people who can be swayed. I want to ask a very important question here. So we are putting blame on like the saffron parties and the saffron groups that you took up this cause because it was a Hindu who was who bear the brunt, right? Why hasn't anybody asked the question that the other parties that support minorities come out and sit in the same protest and go against the act?
Let me ask Rishi this.
Connotation.
Did you try and reach out to other parties as well, or had you, because you joined the BJP, therefore you couldn't do that?
See, nobody knows even that I'm in the BJP. As I told you, I've joined the BJP very recently.
Okay.
But none of the other parties came in our support.
That's right. It is not for the aggrieved. It is not for the person whose sister has been raped and thrown out of a house and had dogs led on to.
We had asked for
It is
support
not for
from
him to go and apply
everyone.
for party membership. But it is for all the concerned people to go and help him.
Okay, I
help his sister.
have to start taking
The
last
question
comments.
is, why is
Gaurav,
the
respond to
BJP
that.
the
Why not
only
other
party?
parties?
Yes.
If Tara Sahadev's case is about
that's the
gender,
brutal truth.
I think Rishi has a good point that if her case is about gender and a woman who was tortured, why is it only the BJP that's standing up for her?
Absolutely. The young lady made a very pertinent point that everybody here, and I am speaking for the Samajwadi Party and the UP government, we are against forced conversions, irrespective of the religion in which it takes place. But who is the person who has to come forward and say that I have been forcibly converted? It is the person who is aggrieved, not RSS, not other outfits who are trying to politicize the issue.
Okay.
And in the case of Meerut, rape
Okay,
case
let's not
no,
go back.
there is an important point I wanted to make.
Yeah.
The accused persons were from a particular community of which the Samajwadi Party is always charged that we try to appease. They were arrested within 24 hours, 3 of them. So, when it comes to rule of law, it's the same for everyone.
Okay,
Their
I'm going to take last
don't
comments
have
from all of you,
religion.
but I'm going to
That
spend
is
a little time here talking to people here. You're also an example of an interfaith marriage, right? Tell us about yourself.
I'm Manisha and I'm married to Salim. And I would say that we all have our own individual truths. So for us, when the decision was to get married, what was important for us was people around us, our families. So when my mother, who was reluctant, and she wanted a Hindu marriage to take place, my family agreed. Salim's family, they agreed. Yeah. And they brought on the conversation and, just to appease her, just to, make it, make her feel happy. And then we had a nikah. For me, it's like we are accepting each other's traditions and we are respecting that.
What do you think of conversions? I think that's where the debate, I think no one's really questioning interfaith marriages and we celebrate them. But the debate, actually the heart of it and where opinion is divided is on conversions.
See, I'm a person who is not religious. But yeah, for me, there's one God and these are different ways to reach God. Yeah. So when the nikah happened, so this was, for me, it was a way to respect the tradition. And that's how it was. And now we have a life where...
And now would you define yourself as Hindu or Muslim?
I don't define myself. I'm a person who follows one God. And then I have people in my family who are accepting my traditions. And they're welcoming, they're celebrating the Hindu culture.
That's how it should be. You have a question? Yeah.
I don't think BJP or any other party is against interreligious marriages, but putting these names, it's actually we have to be sitting here discussing about what the criminal has done and his crime should not be shared.
I think that's an important point. I want Rishi to first start with the last comments. What she's saying, don't make it Hindu-Muslim. It's a crime. Talk about it as a crime. Do you agree with that?
I absolutely agree with what she has said. And I would just like to say, see, something very wrong, very dangerous, very scary is happening, and we cannot deny or evade
But should it
this
be treated
reality.
as a crime or as a Hindu-Muslim issue?
It should be treated as a crime.
As a crime. All right, Charu Gupta, last thoughts.
No, I just want to say that perhaps, in the name of sometimes protecting our women, we are also trying to discipline them. There is a great fear that now women are much more, because they are now moving much more in public spaces, they are taking decisions.
So it's also an insecurity about women.
They are taking decisions on their own. They are deciding whom to marry, whom to love, whether to convert, whether not to convert, whether to retain their religion, whether to be atheist. I think that has also created a lot of fear psychosis, because it's on the woman's body that these organizations
I'm going to rush you all along. Now I'll take a last
whether it's Muslim fundamentalists or Hindu organizations.
The comment really is that this is a very urban, myopic discussion that we are having.
Absolutely.
And also, religion is just only one aspect of it. Talk about the so-called Samaj ke Thekedar will create a divide between rich, poor, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, whatever. Now, if you're different, it's a problem. If you're same, if you're the same sex, that also is a problem. You're same gotra, that also is a problem. So they just need new toys.
So there's no end to this divide and rule politics.
Exactly.
Actually, I'm ancestrally from UP, but I'm from Ranchi, and the point that Professor C.B. Sharma made about Arya Samaji schools not really trying to force their religion, while I have studied both in convent schools and in a school that follows Hindu ideologies. There are schools. There's a small village called Garu near Palamu. My dad is an IFS officer, so I've been there. They have Saraswati Shishu Mandir schools there. The students there, they call themselves Hindus. They are tribals. They are not under the law. They should not. They're not really under some religion, but they call themselves Hindus. So you cannot say that Hindu institutions have not tried to proselytize.
I don't know about this school, but then I have stayed in Palamu as well. But I have not come across such schools. If this is my last comment, that look, we will have to look at all children, all citizens as one, and till the time we keep appeasing and keep having different connotations, minorities institution and such things, we would not be able to get away with these things.
Okay, Gaurav and Bharti, may I request you 30 seconds each?
Yes,
I'm really out of time.
less than 30 seconds.
Okay.
If I'm walking on a street and I see a girl being eve-teased, or there is an attempt to molest her, and if I ask her, are you a Hindu or a Muslim, and then I help her, I cease to be a human being. I think that is the essence.
So don't look at it through the prism of religion.
Yes.
Bhartendra, is that
Absolutely.
acceptable?
Gaurav is completely right. I just want to go a step ahead. I think really the problem starts getting politicized when the lady's complaint is not being registered and proper action is not being taken by the administration.
But why should it get politicized because of that?
It gets politicized because when the complaint is not being taken by the police
because
of political influence.
But it's a long battle,
so then it becomes
a public issue.
It becomes a public issue.
यहाँ पे आचार्य जी हैं, आप कुछ बोलना चाह रहे हैं?
हाँ, मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि छल छद्म से और धोखे से जो धर्मांतरण हो रहा है वो गलत है, और यदि कोई किसी भी अपनी मर्जी से कोई धर्म या शादी करना चाहे या धर्म स्वीकार करना चाहे तो उसमें कोई आपत्ति नहीं है, लेकिन इसके पीछे जो है षड्यंत्र भी है, क्योंकि बहुत सारा जो इस तरह के केसेस आ रहे हैं उसमें बहुत सारी यातनाएं, उसमें भय और रिलीजन को जैसे ये ताजा।
तो आप कह रहे हैं वॉलंटरी हो तो ठीक है और दूसरी तरह से
हाँ, अगर वो उसमें कोई
Yeah, I just want to ask that they like the one from BJP, the panelist, one of the panelists, he just said there's a conspiracy behind all these conversions. He said that first there was only conversions. My question is this: why is it only now that isn't it quite clear enough that it's just a political stunt? You want to just capture the votes because there have been in the past. There have.
So you're saying it's time to elections? Okay, quick response to that. Yeah.
No, it's this problem has been there since a very long time. People have been addressing it. People have been talking about it, and again, I want to say that there was a move. Some people thought that it should be a part of the UP resolution being adopted in Mathura, but it was because of the High Command which completely disagreed, and the resolution was dropped. So
you're conceding the High Command told the state unit, don't bring this word into the resolution.
Is certainly looking at development, and we have
once again. I think he said it clearly that the Delhi leadership, the central leadership of BJP did not approve of the reference to love jihad in the resolution. Okay, that phrase. Absolutely last question.
I see everyone
accepting the fact that this is a very fundamental scheme, that if I'm inducing myself into a religion, it's right. If someone else is forcing it, it's wrong. So even before being a member of BSP or BJP, you're a citizen of India. I want to ask you, when would you say that I, Mr. Gaurav, or I, Mr. Bhartendra, would support Tara, and not I, a BSP member, and I, a BJP?
Okay, I think politicians have had their say. Ram Rahman, last comments.
One question to the audience.
Yes.
Which is a very young audience.
Yes.
How many of you are going to marry somebody that you love without caring their religion, their background?
Well, I think this is the new India. Let's just hold your hands up, those of you who think.
I think we need to celebrate this.
I think this is what we have to celebrate. And I think that says it all. Rahul Ishwar.
And so, totally agree with you. Don't convert. Let religion be of secondary importance. Let love be of more importance. Anti-forced conversion law should be there. And that is the right way to go ahead. And if you are, and last comment, if the moderates and the intellectuals are not standing up for the right Hindus, let me be very sure we won't be able to resist the hardline Hindu right from getting the upper hand.
Khushbu, last word. And then I'm going to ask Hina Khan to wrap this up for us.
I think all I would like to say is religion is a problem which starts at home. Love and religion both are taught at home. So the minute you leave your home, leave your religion behind the closed doors. You walk onto the street and say, I'm a pride Indian and I do not believe in any religion.
Hina ji, आप लोगों को यहाँ पे आखिरी word आपका.
ना उम्र की सीमा हो, ना जन्म का हो बंधन, जब प्यार करे कोई तो देखे केवल.
I think that says it all. I think this is the India we need to celebrate. Thank you very much. Thank you as the debate continues. Thank you.
अगर वो एक हिंदू बालिका को ले जाएंगे तो कम से कम 100 मुस्लिम बालिकाओं को